Welcome, everybody, to today's show. My name is Ben, and we're going to take a look. I actually made a trade earlier today on one of my breaks, so we'll go over the trade. I made a buy and a sell, so we'll cover that. But let's dig into uh, what the crypto markets are looking like today. Let's see here. We're going to go to, we're not doing an exchange. Where are we going? We're going right here to CoinGecko. So let's get our market cap information so we can update our information that we track. We are on 221 of 23. And let's see what our market cap is. It is 1.15. All right, 1.15. So we're coming down a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of money come out of the market. Bitcoin is at 469, so 469 billion. And let's take a look at what Ethereum is doing. Ethereum is at 198. 198. So we can see that overall the market's coming down. There's some outflow out of the market. We can look at our bubbles and look at that on the 15-minute. We got a bunch of green, which we like to see, especially when we're looking for opportunities to make buys. Let's just cover what our strategy, what it is that we do here, what it is that I cover every day, what am I reviewing. So basically, it is a compounding strategy. The whole idea here is that you're looking to start off with a certain amount every month. If you, for example, we started out this month, we're doing paper trading at the moment, doing everything on a spreadsheet. We started out with $100. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do if you get into crypto is track everything. Track your trades, track the market cap. That way you can see the ebb and flow, the ins and outs, so to speak, of everything that's going on, right? And you're going to want to be very diligent. Again, what I'm showing you, what I'm going through on these daily shows is basically one trade per day, maybe two. I've done a couple days where I've done two. I think one day I actually did three. But the whole goal here is basically to make one buy, one sell, make a 5% return. And if we do that consistently, and we do that Monday through Friday, so we're not doing this on Saturday or Sunday right now, but if we did that for 4 weeks straight, on day 20, we'd have, at 5%, we'd have this return of $265 out of a $100 start, 20 trades, 20 days later, however you want to look at it. If you're able to get that 5% on every trade, right? So that's the strategy. The whole idea here is to show you that there are tools out there. There are ways out there every day. You can come make a trade in the crypto space. And if you're sticking to your guns, sticking to the 5% strategy, it's doable, right? And then I just show here, if you started with a certain amount, where could you end up? So let's take a look at the trade I was able to make earlier today when I was on break. I made labs and USDT. Got in it at 347, and you can see I pretty much got out of it, but I got out of it, and we hit our 5% target. So let's pull up the chart and actually take a look at the chart. Here's the chart. Okay. Let me close some of these other windows real quick since we got them open. This was our trade from yesterday, so I'll cover that here. But I want to cover this one since I've already made it for the day. Remember that, what do we look at? We look at the white line, which is our trend line, our initial trend line. We look at these FVG signals. Greens are buy signals, reds are sell signals, right? And so let's look at what I bought this, because I had to reset my charts and everything. Had some computer issues. So let me get this back up so we can put our lines in here and we can see exactly how quickly things moved in our charts. So we bought in at 12,291. So let's go over here. We bought in at 12,291. So we're gonna have to squeeze it here. We're gonna squeeze it right there. So this was our buy line. This is when we bought and we sold. Well, let's just do what we normally do. Let's put our blue line out there, right? We normally put a blue line and a purple line. Blue line would be 1290. So let's go in here. Let's go to 1290. So we're going to put it right there. That would be our blue line, right? And I'm not even going to put the purple, even though, let's take a look. Let's see where the purple line. Let's see where our 10% would have got us. 1352. 1352. There we go. We could have held on for the purple, but I took it at the 5 and cashed out. Now you can see real quickly, look at this. When we bought in at 47, we bought it at, what did I say? Oh, we bought it at 347, so that's 1547. So that was right in this window is when we bought it, right? We bought it right in between here, 45 and 50. So we bought it right in here, and then look what happened. Poof, poof, poof. And I sold it at 355. So let's look at 355. 355 is right here. So you see this big line up, right? So as I sat here on the 5-minute chart watching this, it was bouncing, right? Buy, sells, buy, sells, buy, sells. And I knew I had my blue line listed. I was like, I didn't have the purple at the time, but I had the blue, and it was going, bouncing. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sell. I'm going to go ahead because I watched on this 5 it go really crazy up and down. I was like, you know what? It gets above our blue line. I'm going to sell it. It got above our blue line. I continued to watch it, and look, it got above our purple line. But look what it's doing now. It's retracing back down. It's now down here. Probably going to see what's going to happen on the next 5-minute window, right? We're halfway through this when we're going to see it's below the white line, which means it could keep going down, right? And we could have, down, 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 and then it bounces, right? But this line right here is the second resistance, R2, right? And you guys know how I love to look at things that are above R2. So when I saw this was above R2 right here, I was like, you know what? Let me monitor it. And as soon as I decided, I had these green FVG shows up, I was like, I'm buying in. And sure enough, it went up not only 5, but 10%, even a little bit more than that in a very short amount of time, right? And so, again, this is the beauty of the strategy, right? Yes, some days it might take a little while to get from our buy-in to our 5%, or it may never get to 10%. Today, it was a matter of, let's look at the total time. It was less than 10 minutes. I was in and out of the trade in less than 10 minutes, and I got my goal of having the one trade, earning the 5% on the day. We went from a 217.57 value to a 233.69. And if we look at our strategy, what did I say? 233. So that puts us right here. We are getting closer and closer to what our target was to start the month. But again, we're going to trade this all the way out. We're going to trade this all the way out and see where we end up for the month of February. We've been trading every day, Monday through Friday. I think we missed one day where we didn't trade, but we have some days where we were duplicate trading. I think on the 16th, I did 3 trades, right? to get us. But look at the consistency here. And this is kind of what I want to show. Some days we didn't quite get to 5%, but we sold at a profit. Some days we got to 5% between 5 and 10. Other days we got above 10. Some days we lost, but we cut our losses quickly, right? We cut our losses quickly on these red days, which preserved our capital and gave us the opportunity and ability to earn that 5% on these other days. So we are in great standing for where we want to be month to date, right? And we are doing very well. We're going to be looking to actually move and start doing this and showing this on an exchange. I don't know if I'll do that in March or April, but that is in the works. We're just going to continue showing this progress, showing how to work the strategy of 5% per day. That's what we're looking for. We're using our tools. We're using our screeners. I used the pairs screener that's here in TradingView to find the trade. And again, you guys know, as soon as I see something over R2, I'm watching it. I'm looking at it. I'm going to pay attention to it because I like things that are broken through the resistance levels. Now, let's take a look at what we did yesterday. So yesterday we had a buy-in of CFX. Again, another one, 15 minutes. We were in at 5:51 shortly after I ended the call. I know I ended the call like around 6. Sure enough, poof, it went up. But let's take a look at that chart. I want to show everybody what happened on that chart. So CFX, here we are. Look at this. This was last night, right? We bought in right before this 1800. We bought in, and let me get our lines here real quick. Let me get our lines. Make it easy for everybody. So we bought in at 32,108, or I should say 32,2. So 32,108. We're just going to have to call it there. We're just going to call it right there. Close enough for government work, right? So this was our buy-in, right? And then what was our 5% target? 5% target on yesterday was going to be 33.82. So we were at 33.82 right here. So this was going to be our sell target, right? And again, I just want to highlight how quickly these things happen. This is a 15-minute window, right? And I bought it at, what did I say, 51 and 605. I'm starting to use the 5-minute when I make my buys, right? So let's flip this to 5 minutes real quick. All right, so last night at 1800, Tuesday, Monday. All right. So it was right in this window that I made the buy, right? Right in here. Okay. And then 605 is when I made the sell, which is I sometimes like to watch what happens on the opening at 16 for a new day at 1600 my or 1800 my time, 6 p.m. my time. And this thing pumped in the first 5 minutes up over our sell. So what did I do? I pulled that trigger. Went ahead and said, bang, I'm selling. Right? Because this was where it started to go right here in the 05 window. Right? Was this candle here. As soon as it started to bump up, I was like, I'm selling, sold. Right? And so we were able to get a sale in at 345. So let's look at where that is on the chart. 345. So right here, which is a little bit above our blue line. right? Now, what happened throughout the rest of today? Well, it went up a little bit more after that. It tested R1 and it came back down. It went back up, tested R1. And now you start to understand why these resistance lines, why I watch them, right? Went and tested, came back down below the white line, below the blue line, went back up, came back down, went sideways, down, then it went up, then kind of sideways, then down, then down, then down, down a little bit more. Then it started to trek back up above the resistance line, but the next 5 minute window came back down, right? The next 5 minute window came back down, and then it went down all the way down, didn't get all the way down to the support line, then kind of went sideways a little, didn't know what it wanted to do. And now look at where we are for where we are at the moment. We are pushing back above where I bought it yesterday, pushing back to where I sold it yesterday, right? And so this would be something that I would be looking at as another buy opportunity. If I had more capital, I wanted to get into another trade, make another 5%, this would be something that I'm looking at. We're on an upward trend. We've got the green FVGs. We've got some space to get into the R1, which is that resistance level. So this would be something that I would be looking at. But you can see for the majority of the day, it's kind of been a sideways type thing, right? It's been up and down, but it's kind of been sideways. But now we're headed back up, looking at that resistance line. We got about another hour until we hit 1600 or 6 p.m., 1800, 6 p.m. my time. So we already made the trade for today, right? We already made that trade. But with labs, and look at the lab, poof, just exploding, right? And this is what this is where swing trading and other types of trading come in. Look what happened earlier today. It went from way down here to way up here, above the purple, set a new daily top, right? Set another, it got close. Maybe that's even Steven there, right? What's on the day? 13,820. 13,820. Now what is it trying to do? It's testing that 13,820. Is it going to break all the way through it? Look what happened here. Came down, came down, came down, came down. Tested the blue right here. Went a little bit below, but ended up closing at the blue. Then what did it do? Shot back up to the white. What did it do right after that? Poof. Right? Rocket time. So understanding the charts, paying attention to the charts, looking at them every day, finding those opportunities where you see the signals telling you, you know what, good buy opportunity, right? And being confident. Again, we're not trying to win the lottery all in one fell swoop. We're not trying to make a bank account all in one trade. We are every day doing a simple transaction, one transaction, maybe two, maybe three, depending on the day. And we are following a strategy. Why? Well, depending on how much you have, you might be starting at a low amount. You might be starting at 100, right? But look at what you can do. Let's say you build this up and you get this 100 all the way, and you add a little bit of money at the end of the month, and you can start the next month with 500, right? Now, I have a personal kind of goal, and that is when I start to look at things that I'm going to do, I'm trying to basically build a revenue stream, whatever it is, to have $2,000 worth of income come into my pocket every month. That's my goal. If I'm looking at something new, looking at an opportunity, whatever it is, right? I'm looking at it through the lens of what do I have to do? What is it going to take for me to put $2,000 in my pocket every month? $500 a week, roughly, right? So at $500, look what happens. On day 20, you're at 1326. Okay? So I could say I'm going to take 326 out this month and pay myself, and I'm going to flip and use the 1,000 the next month. Well, look what happens when you use 1,000. You're at 2,653. That's 1,653. Wonderful. Again, you could take out the 653 and use 2,000 the next month. 2,000. We're starting the month with 2,000. Okay? Look what happens. You get the 5% per day. That's all you're doing. Compounding 5% per day. Day, trade 20, day 20, whatever you want to call it. 5,306. Take my 2,000 out for the next month, and I have 3,306 bucks put in my pocket for that month. Think about that. You're doing the same exact thing that I'm showing you, right? Got the paper trail to prove it. We'll have the exchange trail here in the next couple months. But I'm showing you the strategy. I'm showing you the power. I'm not spending hours watching charts, right? I'm not glued in front of my computer. You can see the timestamps. I've got all sorts of timestamps of when I made the buys, right? Variety of timestamps. Some of it's in the morning, some of it's mid-afternoon, some of it's evening, right? It just depends on when do I have time to come look at my charts, look at my screeners, and pay attention and trust the tools that I have, right? If I have tools that are telling me buy, and I don't make a buy, or I don't make an educated buy, right? Again, I'm only looking for 5%. Well, then what am I doing? What am I waiting on, right? I have the tools, I have the understandings, right, of what I'm looking at, and I'm going to make the educated buy, and I have the understanding that I can put stop losses in, right? When we do it on exchanges, we'll put stop losses in. So if we have to step away, we can step away and come back and look at it. The phones, right? Everybody's got a phone. There are ways for you to monitor once you're in a trade, right? Once you're in a trade, you can open up something like a CoinGecko, right? You can open up, let's see, I think it was Labs that I bought today, right? Labs Group. You can put it in CoinGecko on your phone and watch the price. So if I'm out, running around, if I'm out around the house, I'm in the yard, and I just have this on my phone, I can kind of watch it. And if I know that it's getting close to my sell, my 5% sell, I can take that 15-minute break. I can say, hey, you know what? Let me go over to my computer. Let me get ready to make this sell because it's getting close to my 5%. Look at what this thing's done just on, let's see if it'll show me, on the last 24 hours. It was down here, 0.0008, and look where we're at now, 0.0013. That's amazing, right? That's awesome. You would love it if you were able to get in here or at these prices. But again, with the strategy that I'm talking about, it's not required. You don't have to hit the home runs every time, right? It's slow and steady, doing the same thing day over day, right? And at the end of the day, I'm going to just think about it, right? What would an extra $100 or $150 do for you in a month? What would an extra, let's see, that's $800 do for you in a month? What would an extra $1,600 do for you in a month? This isn't rocket science, right? Yes, there's some learning curves involved. Yes, there's some tools involved, right? I use some things that I have to pay for every month, right? But it's following a simple strategy, right? Understanding, trusting the tools, being confident that when you see what you see and you make the trade, being confident that it was a good trade, right? And then having that out. I cannot stress how important this blue and purple line are. Why are the blue and purple lines so important? because of the strategy. I have already determined if it hits the blue line, that's my out. If I want to let it go a little bit more and it's quick rising like this one, and I see that it hits purple, that's extra bonus on top. Yes, I can let it ride, right? And we're doing paper trades right now. But the whole goal here is not to operate on hope. I'm not hoping, I'm not letting it ride if it gets to the blue line. Perfect example. Okay, let me look at, we're going to look at this from yesterday, from last night, right? Because I made such a quick trigger pull, right? We bought it here, right? We bought it in this window. It went up here, and right here, I decided I'm selling. I wasn't going to wait for it to get all the way up to R1. I spent 15, 20 minutes in the trade. I think I did it directly after the call. So I was on looking at all this for 30 minutes. And then I had about 10 minutes. So we'll say 40 minutes. I spent 40 minutes out of my day looking at all this, making the buy, making the sell, because it crossed over my 5%. Now, what do I normally do? If I make the buy, I normally put the crypto in my phone and I go and I watch it the rest of the evening. And when it gets to my 5%, I come back to my computer. I take a look at, is it on an upward trend? Is it on a downward trend? What do I think is going to happen? How close are we to the R's, ones or R2s, or are we above it? But I typically will make that sell if it's at our blue line. That's the strategy. If I get a sell where it goes above and goes to the purple, great. If I don't, I'm not sweating it. That's not what the strategy is, right? Like right now today, I already made one buy and sell here. If I was so inclined, I might make another one because we're still above R2. We've already had this retrace. We're now coming back up. Like I would probably do another one. But in my mind, right, that's not my strategy. My strategy isn't to make a whole bunch of trades and try to go for the jugular and all that stuff. That's not what this strategy is doing. This strategy is, spend an hour a day basically. Come look at the market, find a good trade. You can see that I made some misses, and that's okay, right? But I also had a day, the 16th, because I wanted to recover, right? I made a miss on the first one. So I made another quick trade, got in and out of it real quick. And then I saw another opportunity. I was at my computer for an extended amount of time, and I made another one, right? Now, here's the fun part. I could have stayed in this trade. Had I stayed in this trade, I would have had a much bigger return had I gotten out of it last night and I didn't make the sell and then make another buy, right? But if I look at where that trade is now, it's back up here at the 33, which is where my sell was yesterday. So if I thought this was a good buy to buy back into, I could do that, right? But we're not looking to try to find these big jumps. We're looking to try to find the 5% jump. And that's the beauty of it. We're not looking where we have to have a 20% gain or a 50% gain. We're looking at 5% gains. We find a 5% gain. We met our target for the day. We move on to tomorrow. And when you do it consistently, that's the key, day over day. Like, let's just say we added Saturday and Sunday in here. And we did 28 days instead of 20, where we're spending an hour a day, roughly. Some days a little more, some days a little less. Look at what our numbers jump to. $100 at 5%, almost $400. 500 jumps you to almost $2,000 total. 1,000. Jumps you to almost 4,000 total. Right? So, hey, cowboy.
What's up, man?
Not much.